I may put you to sleep. That's it. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review season 13, episode 8 of The Real Housewives whose husband will rate them an 8.5 of Beverly Hills. So we start the episode off with this dramatic scene between Kyle and Mauricio and this intense music playing in the background. It was so loud, it was like, and I'm like, shh, I'm trying to listen to Kyle and Mauricio and watch their marriage fall apart. Lower the music down. Go ahead, Kyle, continue. So then Kyle, she's talking about, everything that happened at her dinner party, from Sutton questioning her marriage, her ring finger, her behavior, everything, right? Mauricio, he was like, okay, Kyle, so did you tell her off, right? Mauricio, come over here for a second. You have a very rude awakening when you watch this season back and you see that your wife, Kyle, has been unhappy with you every single episode from the very beginning. And does he even know who Morgan is? Like, does he know that Morgan has been on the show a couple of times? Or is Kyle just bold enough to bring her side piece onto the show behind his back? Ooh, Kyle, you're playing a very risky game, but I'm here for it. So Kyle, she's like, I kind of told her off. Sort of, but she's skating around the question. So she gets up, she tries to walk around him, but then he grabs her into a hug. He kisses her in the mouth, and it was so painful to watch because she's just standing there all lifeless, like, don't kiss me right now, okay? Ugh, I need to call Morgan. So she walks around him, and then Mauricio, he was like, what do you mean? I could kiss you whenever I want. No, you can't, Mauricio. Not anymore. That woman does not love you anymore. Just go upstairs, pack your stuff, and save yourself some heartbreak. Go listen to Lana Del Rey. So then the dramatics continue because as he moves out of the way, the cameras, they zoom in on this portrait of Kyle and Mauricio on the desk. They're zooming in closer and closer, and all we hear in the background is Sutton saying,
She's in denial of something.
And I do wonder, what is Kyle's endgame with this whole situation? Like, is she gonna call it quits with him? Are they gonna get marriage counseling? Is she gonna run off with Morgan and record an album together? Which wouldn't be a bad idea, Morgan, She's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. The only housewife who could make me fall in love. Ooh, I'm onto something. Morgan, contact me. I'll put your next album on billboards. So then we see Sutton at her store, Sutton, and she wants to have this big celebration, this big event for herself as a businesswoman. It's not easy running a store and keeping it open for a couple of years, especially if you're doing it independently and with nobody's money or nobody's help, according to her. But then a second later, the producers asked her, so Sutton, have you used your ex-husband's money to run the store? Sutton says, yeah, of course. So which one is it, Sutton? Are you Miss Independent or are you not? Like, which one? You need to be a little bit more specific. I'm not mad at you, though. So her, Avi, and everybody else, they're planning the event. She gets a phone call from Crystal. Crystal, she looks a mess. Sutton is like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? Crystal, she's like, I'm just really tired. Tired from what? You haven't done anything all season. You should be the first one to show up on camera, fully refreshed and awake, ready to look for a storyline. But now you're tired all of a sudden? She asks Sutton, are you gonna invite Kyle to your event? Sutton is like, I'm not sure because I don't want a fight to break out between both of us. Sorry, Sutton, you need to invite Kyle, and yes, a fight needs to break out. This is called The Real Housewives, not the Good Girls Club. Sorry to break it to you. She's like, well, I'm not sure because Kyle, she put out all these allegations and rumors on me that I don't eat, that I drink, that I'm an alcoholic, basically. And what about my business partners? They're probably looking at this like, oh, maybe we can't work with her anymore. Or even worse, my ex-husband, he might take full custody of my child just because he thinks that I'm an unfit parent, which I never thought of it that way. And yeah, Kyle, you're playing with fire with that. But, Sutton, that's when you flip the table on Kyle. And if you're going to go down, then take her down with you. Start spreading rumors on her like, I heard Lisa Vanderpump is dating Mauricio, and that's why they're having trouble. Could you imagine, though, if Mauricio and Lisa Vanderpump, I don't see it happening, but allegedly, but, just imagine, ooh. We head back over to Kyle's house where she has her therapist come over. He asked her, so, what's going on in your life right now? Right away, she starts crying, she starts breaking down, she starts talking about Kathy and Mauricio, and how she feels that the issue between them started when he wanted to separate himself from Kathy and start his own agency. Kathy, being the queen of Beverly Hills, she didn't like that. She didn't like somebody competing against her, so she looked at him sideways and took it out on Kyle. But obviously, Kyle is missing a couple of details in her story on how, yeah, Kathy's a monster on her own, but Kyle, you're no good either. But now all of a sudden, we want to just forget that she threw Kathy to the wolves last season, and she also did it to Kim a couple of years ago. But now Kyle is the angel, right? Okay, and then on top of that, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. She also mentions that her best friend by the name of Lorraine, I believe, she offed herself earlier this year, and that was her best friend. She shared everything with her, and she's no longer here. So of course now Kyle is hurting. She's crying, and then it also had me looking at her like, oh, so this explains your whole new outlook on life now. Because, you know, obviously after something traumatic like that, of course you're gonna look at life like differently. Like, you know, you start reevaluating everything around you. Like, wait a minute, am I happy doing this? Or should I do some changes? Maybe I should quit alcohol. Maybe I should look at my relationship with my husband differently. Am I really happy or am I just settling? And I feel like once she met Morgan, you know, somebody who's not in her Beverly Hills circle, she started looking at life much more differently. Like, wait a minute, there's much more to my life. There's much more out there than just Beverly Hills and just Mauricio and Kathy and drama, drama, drama. I can actually be happy with somebody else, somebody who's not a part of this world. And if that's the case, Kyle, then you need to put yourself first and stop trying to be a people pleaser and make everybody around you happy, from Mauricio to Kathy to Paris Hilton to your family. Like, enough. Like, put Kyle first and put your happiness first. And if you think Morgan makes you happy, then go in that direction. Because if you genuinely think that you and Kathy are never gonna get better, then how many more shots can you give it? Like, yeah, it takes two to tango, and Kathy is no angel too. Like, yeah, Kyle is a demon. But I feel like Kathy is too, and I feel like Kathy is harsh to Kyle just behind the scenes, and we don't see that. We only see Kyle acting an ass on this show because she's on the show. Kathy's not on the show. So, you know, just call it quits. You know, just be like, you know what, fine. We could be sisters from a distance. We could, you know, text each other or whatever, visit every now and then. That's that. But, you know, you crying over her every other episode, every other season, it's just like, enough. When is enough for you? Because if I keep seeing that damn flashback of Kathy constantly saying, Kyle, 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 and I keep seeing her in that damn pink dress at the reunion from last season, I'm gonna lose it. Like, we get it, producers, we get it, we watched it, we remember, we're not gonna forget. Stop showing that every other episode. But, you know, and I'm also thinking about Kyle and how she handled the situation that was very similar like this with Lisa Vanderpump a couple of seasons ago. And you were not so nice about it, Kyle, back then. So Garcelle and her son Jade and his girlfriend Ashlyn go out to eat. And like I keep saying every other week on here, Crystal. You know, first it was Jax, her other son, who had a bigger storyline than Crystal this season with Erica Jane and that whole situation with his mom. And now Jade has a bigger storyline than you, Crystal. Like, what are you doing? Like, get up. You know, they're both running circles around you, and what are you doing? At this point, just give your diamond over to Jax and Jade. They could split it down the middle and hold it in the intro next to their mom, because I'm not sure what you're doing anymore. But, you know, this whole scene between all three of them, it was cute. Then we head over to Anne Marie's house. I already said it last week that I love her house. I love the layout. I think it's huge. We see the family dynamic between her and her 4 kids, Morocco, Araya, Olivia, and Marcellus Jr. Her husband, Marcellus, he comes down. Everything is cutesy until we see her in the confessional and she starts explaining their relationship a little bit more. She's like, oh yeah, we've been married for 9 years, and she looked nice in her wedding dress. We've been married for 9 years and every woman wanted him, but he chose me. But this is the red flag. He told me, Anne Marie, you're an 8.5 in everything, in look-wise, in cooking-wise, in everything that you do, you're an 8.5. First of all, your mother's an 8.5. Don't call me an 8.5 and I'm supposed to be your wife, your side piece, your side chick, whatever you want to call me. But don't call me an 8.5. I'm a 12. That is crazy. And she's literally in the confessional smiling about it and thinking that it's something to be proud of. Like, yeah, he called me an 8.5. Like, no, Anne Marie, you're not supposed to accept any of that. The second that he told you that, 9, 10 years ago, whenever, you should have walked away from him, because that's a huge red flag. Men like that, those are toxic men that would try to lower your self-esteem and break your self-esteem. So that way, if you think that you're a 10, and if you think that, if you know your worth, they're going to try to slowly break that down. So that way you could stay in the relationship. They could feel like they're better than you and that they have a one-up on you. And that way you just, you crumble and everything and you feel less than about yourself. And that's just not the case. That is crazy to me at 8.5. I wish my dumb ass would stay with somebody who called me at 8.5. That's so disrespectful, and she's really just smiling about it. Like, that is crazy. So Marcellus, yeah. Let me put you over here in the trash can pile of husbands of the Real Housewives. Is it so hard to find a good husband on the Real Housewives? I feel like we only have like 5 of them. We see Erica Jane in her shoebox calling her mom to let her know some good news. Guess what, Mom? I'm gonna be doing a Las Vegas residency of 20 shows. Every single night, I'm gonna be on stage performing in front of millions of people. I'm gonna be the next pop star. I'm gonna take over the world. So the mom is like, oh, really? Am I gonna be able to go? So Erica was like, of course. I need as many ticket sales as possible. Bring your friends, bring yourself, bring anybody, bring the neighbors, bring the mechanic, the mailman, the ice cream truck driver. If they have any pets, bring them too. Just bring anybody, please. You know, they need to sell out. And, you know, say what you want about Erica, but it is impressive how she managed to get a Las Vegas residency. You know, I don't know how difficult or easy it is to get one, but she got one. And we all thought she was going to get a residency in jail right next to Tom. And that was going to be a lifelong show. But clearly that's not the case. But I'm genuinely curious, what is she going to be performing? Is she going to be lip syncing other people's songs, or does she have a list of songs that she makes, or, you know, how does it work? And I think that as of now, the show is over, so I can't go, or else I would have gone. You know, I have $2, so I could afford a ticket, but maybe next time. So we see everyone getting ready for Sutton's event, and Kyle, she's sitting in front of her vanity with a robe on and on the phone with her side chick, Morgan. So you know Mauricio's not home. And they were just laughing it up. Kyle, she was just all smiles the whole entire conversation. Her mood was completely different from the beginning of the episode with Mauricio, right? She's telling Morgan, oh, stop, Morgan, stop. You think I'm gonna wear this bathrobe to Sutton's event? Stop, I'm not gonna do that, silly. Why, do you wanna see me in it? I'm like, damn, Kyle, relax. But she's telling Morgan, oh, this necklace? Oh, yeah, this necklace. I hope it doesn't cause any rumors. You know, Garcella's going to assume that I have a different family in a different country. Well, do you? I don't know, Kyle. Now you have me thinking, does Mauricio have a different family? Interesting. But she's telling Morgan, oh, my date for the event is going to be Kim. And Kyle, you are so lame. The fact that you're trying to prove to Sutton that you still have a relationship with your sister, like, you're making it so obvious. At least wait a couple of episodes and then bring Kim along. And Kim, poor Kim, she's probably thinking, oh, my sister Kyle, she wants to spend quality time with me. We're going to have a fun night together. Meanwhile, she's just being used by Kyle to try to prove a point to Sutton. So eventually, everybody gets to the event one by one. We hear Dorit. She gets there. She's like, I'm so glad that Sutton told me that there was going to be about 80 people at this event, so that way I could prepare myself mentally. Dorit, please, we're still doing this, but, you know, they're all getting there one by one, and the outfits that I like were Sutton. I like her outfit, the one with the 2 lions facing each other. I know she has it in white, but it looks nice in all black. And Marie, I like her all pink suit. I like Crystal's all white look. Everybody else, I'm not sure what happened. So they're all there, they're mingling, they're getting drinks. We see Kyle, Kim, they face off against Sutton. Kim, she's just happy to be there, right? But she's oblivious to what's going on between them. Sutton greets them and she takes a shot at Kyle by saying, well, I'm gonna go get a drink, but that's only if Mother allows me to. Ooh. So that's how we're starting the night off, Sutton, by being petty in your own store. That's pretty bold because Kyle, she's already unpredictable. She has nothing to lose. She could just knock everything off the shelf and leave. But Kyle, she remains controlled, like, okay, I got you. So then Sutton, she comes back. They start discussing what happened. And Kyle is like, wait, what do you mean, Mother? Why do you call me Mother? Kim, again, she's confused. And Sutton is like, well, I mean, you did allude that I had a drinking issue, that I had, like, 5 drinks in my system the other night, and you keep repeating that, and I don't appreciate that. Kyle, I wonder if she feels uncomfortable because she started backpedaling and she was like, no, I never said that. I never said that about you. I wasn't alluding that you were an alcoholic. I wonder if she only started backpedaling because Kim was there and we know Kim's history with alcohol. Doesn't want to feel like an asshole talking like that to Sutton when she did it to her sister once upon a time ago. So, I see what you're trying to do, Kyle. But Kyle was like, no, I'm so sorry. No. That wasn't my intentions. No. I was just saying, yeah, you were drinking. I wasn't sure or anything. And I'm like, Kyle, Please, you could play dumb with somebody else. We know what you're doing. You're only doing this because Kim is there. If she wasn't, you would have still stood on what you said about Sutton. You were even making fun of her with Dorit, like, oh yeah, she becomes a whole different person with alcohol in her system. Like, again, save it. And then speaking of Dorit, I believe, what's her name? Dorit, she comes over like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? Sutton, she confronts her and she's like, okay, so Dorit, I also don't appreciate you talking behind my back because Crystal actually told me that you were saying that I drink a lot or whatever. What's that about? Dorit, she was like, no, my baby, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I would never talk behind your back. Where's Crystal? I'm gonna go talk to her right now. Garcelle, she sneaks up and she's like, oh, you're gonna do it now? Garcelle loves to look at mess, right? And Dorit's like, yeah, I'm gonna go now. And I'm like, yes, Dorit. She's finally gonna have a storyline with Crystal. So she goes over to Crystal, right? And then she sits down next to her and she's like, Crystal, I just want to know what's going on because you supposedly said something to Sutton that I was talking behind Sutton's back about Sutton. So what's that about? And Crystal, Crystal was just looking at her like, wait, what? No, what? I'm bored. Like, Crystal, yeah, I need you to exit the show by next season because she has so much potential. And I know that she has that fire inside her, but she's just kind of there. Like, it's just kind of like, meh. Like, what is going on? She's so dry. Like, Crystal, like, Dorit literally confronted you. And what do? Oh, I'm just so bored. I don't feel like talking about this. Like, let's move on. And Dorit, she was just talking to herself at this point. She was just going on and on and on about nothing. And Crystal, just so disappointed. Just get off the show if you don't want to participate or if you don't want to engage. Like, you need to engage. You can't disengage. So then Sutton wants to give a speech and she starts going on and on and on about nothing. She was like, I usually don't like women with labels, but tonight I like labels. But sometimes I like labels. I'm like, what? Yeah, can I get a taxi? I'm going home. And I was with Erica when Dorit was like, what is she talking about? And Erica was like, just keep smiling. Erica has been funny this whole entire season so far. Eventually, they all get together. They're sitting down. I believe Anne-Marie. You know, Anne-Marie, we've known her for what, 2-3 episodes so far, and we've only known her to be up Kyle's ass, and this episode made no difference. She asked Sutton, she's right next to her, so Sutton, what's going on with your esophagus? What's going on with that? Because I heard you explain that whole situation and it's not making sense. Earlier you said this, that, and the third, and I really don't understand what either one of them were talking about because they were using all these medical terms. So I'll try to keep it down here. You know, she's like, you know, you said something about drinking alcohol or whatever, and you're not supposed to do that. I'm confused. Sutton, first of all, if I was Sutton and you're questioning me and I don't even know you like that, skirt. Like, hand in the face. Get out of my face. I don't know you. Why are you questioning me? So I was with Sutton when she was looking at her like, are you my doctor? And I'm like, ooh, Anne-Marie, fight back. And Anne-Marie was like, well, I just want to know, like, what do you mean? Because it's not making sense. And I'm like, okay, again, why do you care so deeply about it? Like, is it going to change your life? Like, again, but then Sutton, this is where she lost me because even though Anne-Marie is trying to explain her nonsense, Sutton, she was like, can you stop yelling at me? And I'm like, oh, Sutton, so we're going back to that. She was yelling at you. And even though Dorit had to speak up, like, no, she's not yelling at you. She was not even yelling at you. And then Anne-Marie was like, oh, well, I apologize if I was yelling at you. No, I'm just trying to explain to you. And Sutton, she repeated it. Oh, okay, but stop yelling at me. Very interesting, Sutton. Very suspicious. And I just feel like Anne-Marie is going to continue having some type of issue about nothing with Sutton just so she could impress Kyle because she knows that Kyle and Sutton, they're not in the best place right now, so why not target Sutton for some type of plot line on this show, which is sad. I'm like, Anne-Marie, stop. Like, again, you're just making an issue out of nothing. And Erica was just like, well, I feel like the issue with Sutton's esophagus is that she doesn't deep throat. And I mean, maybe she's right, you know, because a little deep throat, you know, usually fixes everything for the most part, but who knows? But that was that, and yeah, as of now, everything is okay, but not okay at the same time. And then we see the mid-season trailer, and already, I mean, are we already halfway through the season? I mean, nothing has really happened. I mean, besides Kyle and Mauricio. But Kyle, she just keeps walking in circles with that whole situation. We're not really getting to the point of whatever she's trying to get at. So that's pretty disappointing. And the mid-season trailer, I mean, it was kind of dry. I was just kind of waiting like, okay, something's gonna happen, and then it finished. And I'm like, oh, okay, so nothing happened, but maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe they saved the good stuff for the later on in the episodes. But let me know what you all thought about this whole entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody, and mwah.